Morning YouTube. So I am here at this little pump track, so we're going to test a few parts. If they work, I will let you know. If not, I will keep trying. But the reason why I call this my little test track is because my car's over there. It's easy if I break it just to walk back to the car. I ain't got a faff about. So we're going to give it a few little sends. If it holds up, I'm then going to take it down to the bottom, try and get a few big sends off the big ramp. But fingers crossed this holds up, and I'll give you Big Al's top tip at the end if it works. So let's go. Good start. Oh, nearly in the bush. That was a nice smooth one. So far everything seems to be holding up. Done a few small ones so we can get some back flips in. Beautiful. Lovely. So far she's working good. Actually guys, to be fair, I've got two Big Al top tips here. And I'll show you what they are at the end. What the hell was that? Totally went right off target then. Oh, bad landing on that front right. It looks good though. Bells, yes. Alright, so far, after all that bad tumbles, big-ish air, I'm not going to say big air because people get salty, but the rod end, or the shock shaft, has pulled out of the back of the shock end, so back end's a bit spongy. But you will notice I'm running my old arms at the moment with the big Jubilee clips on at the end. I want to try something out. I just want to see if it works. I've still got my arms on the front that I made, but I wanted to try something on the back end. So with the back end ones, I have got my big Jubilee clips at the back, but on the front ones, don't know if you can see them, but they have got the metal zip ties on there that I've got around my rear wing. So that was a little mod that East Tactics did, so I thought I'd try it just to see if it works, and if it does, bonus, which means if you put that on, you're not going to keep breaking arms, and then you'll end up doing armour out of business on spare parts because you won't need to buy arms constantly all the time. Or go to the extreme that I've done and made some big, massive, thick arms that I've made myself, which, yes, alright, they work, but oh, that's proper done it now. So that was a bad landing. Something's cracking and grinding, but as I was saying, it will save you a lot of money in the long run. So I've now just lost my spring and my shock retainer, so I'm going to go find them and then I'll let you know my thoughts. Alright guys, after that tumble, obviously I lost the shock spring and the shock retainer. I found the retainer, it was buried in the grass on, where is it, that jump there, it's kind of in the middle. I've just been looking around for the past 20 minutes, probably 25 minutes, trying to find a spring. And I thought, oh, what was that clicking noise? Because I've just tried the drivetrain, nothing, but that rear wheel doesn't move. So I thought, why, what's that? Why is that not moving? My shock spring is wrapped around the inside of my tyre. So what's the betting that's going to be bent now? Oh, Jesus Christ, it won't even come out. That's jammed in there solid. Oh, there you go. Would you believe it? It's almost straight still. Sweet. Anyway, so now I found my spring. There you go, look. Almost free now. Except if you notice the front wheels are not facing the right direction. I didn't snap the rod, but I snapped the rod end. So that's an easy fix. I've got one of them at home. So after all them bumps and tumbles and stuff like that, so far it works. So I will show you what I have done. If you notice, I come down here and done my East Tactics front flip challenge, and I broke a rod end on the front. But as you can see, I have put a rear, so I put one of them on the front, but I've filled it with JB Weld. Right, so you can see that it's all dark grey. So what I've done is I drilled a little tiny hole at the top here where the end of the threads are, so it's got a bit of breathing room, and then I filled the whole thing full of JB Weld. And then what I've done is I've drilled it out with a 3.2 or 3.3 mil drill bit. I didn't tap it for the reason being that this one is a reverse thread, and obviously I don't have a reverse thread tap. So what I've done, I've just ploughed it in there, done it up, and then I put a little bit of JB Weld around the edges. I mean, alright, it's not the neatest of jobs, you could always sand it down and make it all nice and neat and pretty, but function over beauty. So I've done that, and that's held up throughout this whole entire little bash session. And so far, them Jubilee clips have all held up as well. The only thing it didn't hold up was my shock rod end. So that did have a bit of JB Weld in it, but that mix in there was 50-50. So 50 black, 50 hardener. But with this one, this was more like 70-30. So it was 70-30 black, and then probably 30% white hardener. So you notice it's a darker grey, and that seems to make it absolutely solid. So in future, that's the way I'm going to do it. So do more black now and white. It seems to hold up pretty well. But for now, I'm going to have to go back, put a new shock rod end on, and replace my steering link because that's broken. But for now, guys, it's worked. So fingers crossed it stays that way. I will let you know in the future if it does or if it doesn't. And also, Randy, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I've had to put my old fans back on my motor because the fan that I got off you in the mod box compilation, I broke it. It now won't spin. You go to plug it in, it spins about once, if that, and then it just dies. So I've had to replace that. So I am sorry for breaking the fan, but your wing mount's still holding up strong, so that's good. And now because of you, I am trying the little metal clips around the arms to try and stop them holes from splitting. So if that works, bonus. Right, but guys, for now, this is me, I'm Big Al, I'm signing out. Laters. Alright guys, I lied, it ain't the end of the video. I just brought it back to the house and I just thought I'd show you this while I do it. So this and this are the 50-50 mixes of the JB Weld. This one is the 70-30 one, give or take a little bit. So this one has got a lot more mixture in it, but less hardener. And it's a lot darker than the other ones, which I think makes this one go even harder because it's got the more compound in it. And it seems to last a lot longer than what these two do. These seem to be a bit softer. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to mix them up. I'm going to show you how I mix it, and then on my shock shaft end, the one that's just pulled out, I'll show you what I've done to this. I'll show you how I do it, and then when it's cured and dried after a day or so, then I'll put it on the truck, we'll take it out for a bash, and then we'll see how well it holds up. So let me get this mixed up, I'll show you how much I'll put on, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so as you can see, I've got more black than I have white. So like I say, give or take 60-40, 70-30, give or take. So we give it a good mix up. Make sure you get them both mixed up really well. So you don't want to see no black, you don't want to see no white. You just want to be a nice consistent dark grey. So give it a good mix around. So give it a good squashing. Make sure you get all the mixture mixed in really well. So instead of keep going round and round in circles, backwards and forwards, so whatever you've got on here, so just give it a good squishing to make sure whatever's on the screwdriver or stick, whatever you're using, to make sure it's all pressed in, all mashed together really well. Alright, so that looks about done. And you can see this one's a lot darker than this one. So this one's got more black in it than it has white. So it's just a simple case of taking your rod end. Alright, so it's got a hole in it, and you'll see it's got a tiny little hole at the bottom just above my nail. So I've drilled it out down the end, and I put a little tiny hole just in there just so it can breathe. And you'll see what I mean by putting a little hole in the bottom there. Once I've filled it, you'll see it start to come out. So just keep packing it, keep filling it. You'll see why in the end. Alright, so there you go, it's all filled. No hole at the top. But you see that little tiny bit. That little bit just sticking up, that perfect with a yellow background. You just see it starting to come out that little hole that I drilled. So now you know, with that little hole at the bottom, all the air, instead of it all getting trapped, all the air has come out of there. So you know this whole section now is full of JB Weld. So what you can do when you're finished, wait until it's all gone hard, and you can just cut that little bit off. You won't see it. You can just tidy it all up, make sure it looks all nice and neat. You don't have to, personal preference. Personally, I don't really care. It is what it is. So what you do, you leave that to sit for 24 hours, and then it sets off. It goes rock hard, and you can drill it out with 3.2mm drill bit for a M4 or a think it's 2.5 or something for M3, which I think they are. Not 100% sure. I've got a chart somewhere, I'll find it and then I'll put up on screen. But this JB Weld works wonders. I've tried it on a few different things now and it works a treat. So I'm going to keep using it every time I break a plastic. I haven't tried it yet on plastic bulkheads, but if you strip the threads out of a plastic bulkhead, I'm pretty sure you can fill it with this, leave it to cure. If you mix it, especially how I mixed it, 70-30, 60-40 give or take, fill it, drill it, tap it, and then I'm assuming, I haven't tried it, but that bulkhead would be good to use again. You can try it. If you do try it, let me know in the comments if it does work. It might save you forking out for an aluminium bulkhead. But I do have a strip tire, so I am going to try it on that. So I'm going to put it all in there, put an old hex in there, see if it works. I have seen that work, or have seen it done on a video. I can't remember who it was. I think it's Do RC. I'm sure I'll find it and I'll put the link in the description box below. But he done it on his hex and it seemed to work. It seemed to hold up. So we'll let that dry and we'll get it drilled to get it tapped, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on if it works after a good batch session. So we'll leave it to cure and then we'll carry on.